Okay, we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I am your host, Sean Williams, aka Mr. President. And this is the Safe Room. It's a safe space for entrepreneurs, business owners, anyone who has a story here right in Toronto to share their personal and professional stories. And today we have a very special guest, and I won't lie. I'm gonna need the Love Bay crew to put this person on camera first because I feel like after I got a good intro. Usually my intros we gotta go over the top, and I think she's gonna like exactly how I start this off. Standing in with the blue dress in the corner, looking dapper, looking fresh. Had to show out for the people. She's the founder and speaker and also financial literary educator of 123 Finance. Okay, if y'all didn't see my post, we spelled it out for you: FINANCE, easy as 123. You make the connection, but just know we're gonna be talking all financial literacy. I know it's gonna be a great conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Without further ado, the one, the only, the talented Miss Alexia Kotoko. Alexia, how's it going?
Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone. I'm doing amazing. I'm hype up on energy right now. Super happy to be here and excited for the conversation.
Yes, I'm excited too. I mean, I'm glad that you're here. And like I mentioned, guys, I know I made the little running gag about standing in the corner. No, she's actually standing. She's not sitting down, guys. Like this might be the first time we have a guest. It's like, you know what? Forget a seat, forget a chair. I'm standing up for this one. So I love the energy off the bat already.
Absolutely. I love it. I have a standing desk. I bought it, so I better use it.
I mean, that's true. Honestly, I think I might have to invest in one low key. Like, it also helps when you don't have to sit down all the time. You can just like stand up. It helps a bit with the posture. So, I mean, I might have to tap in.
Yeah, I'll give you the deets after that. No
Okay,
worries.
perfect, perfect. It's a plan.
I
So,
got you.
ladies and gentlemen, again, like I mentioned, Alexia's on the show. We're here to talk about the work that she's doing with 123 Finance. I know we're going to get very deep into the conversation when it comes to financial literacy. So I'm looking forward to that. But again, if you guys are tuning in, you can watch us on our website. You can watch us on YouTube. Usually the chat gets a little bit active. We don't know when. They'll just pop up out of nowhere and start throwing their comments, but they will get active at some point. So you want to like communicate, send your comments, definitely do that. So again, we're gonna get into it. But before we get into the main questions, we have to open up with the hot seat. It's our favorite segment on the show. Well, maybe second favorite segment. I know what the radio station's favorite segment. I won't spoil it yet, but you know. But we're gonna get into the hot seat. So Alexia, how this works, I'm gonna ask you 4 questions and I want you to answer them to your best abilities, okay?
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So, first question, outside the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
Outside of the work, so I'm a professional dancer and a performer. I'm an avid traveler and I'm a former professional boxer.
Yeah, that's honestly, I saw your bio and I was like, bro, that's crazy. Like, so you're throwing hands then. You're really throwing hands.
We're doing it.
Okay, okay. I love it. So, how did that start for you?
Oh my God, a lot. So, my dad, I didn't grow up with my dad. I grew up with my mom back in France. But my dad is a professional boxer, is a coach for the French team of boxing. But I never grew up with him. So I was doing my dancing, modern jazz, and then hip hop and all that. And at some point, I went into like I think it's a youth organization helping youth, in France. And one of these, the coach there, he was doing boxing, and he was like, "Hey, I'm opening my boxing gym. Just come randomly, come one day and train with us." So I went, and I felt in love with the boxing. Prior to that, I used to do like Viet Vodao and self defense for like 2 years, and it was cool. But when I got into boxing, like the English boxing, just the feast, I really loved it, and it felt like like a relief. After that, you're just like, wow, I did the boxing training, I'm good. And then after that, I did not just only do a boxing. I did 2 years of boxing competition.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
back in Europe. Yes, I did 6 fights in total. 1 year in France, 1 year in Luxembourg. It was so liberating.
Okay, okay. I have to because I feel like now that we're on the conversation, you did 6 fights. How much did you win? How much
I
did
won.
you win?
It's an excellent question. I won four of them. I lost one, and one it was like a, I think you call it a draw, where there's
Hmm.
no winner, a draw. Yeah.
Okay, so for everyone listening, if you ever try Alexia in the streets, just know she got a 1-2 combo set for you already. So just know, all right. I love that, but I think with boxing too, you know, it's not just like the physical aspect where obviously you learn like the different combos, the hooks and the jabs and the footwork, but it's a lot of mental as well. And I feel like for someone like yourself, being in like the entrepreneurial slash business space, but also having that passion, for doing boxing, like you mentioned, dancing as well. There's a lot of it that comes into play with the mentality. And I feel like you have, built a strong foundation for yourself when it comes to like the mentality, staying focused, staying disciplined. Because boxing is like, you can't be like slacking. You have to be focused and disciplined. So I think that applies a lot to the work that you're doing right now.
Absolutely. And especially as a woman, there's a lot of time when you say you do boxing, people are like, oh, boxing, it's a violent sport. You're just hitting on people and all that. But it's because they never went into a boxing gym when there's a lot of discipline, rigor, like you have to listen to the coach, you have to respect the other person. You can't just go and eat like this or like this. There's rules you have to respect. It's a whole environment, it's discipline. You have to go and do your training. Whenever you're not at the boxing gym, you need to go out and run, and you have to also stay in the same weight category, because if you're not the day of the fight, you can't fight with the other girl, because also she has to stay in the same weight category. So it's so much discipline, and effort that you have to put into it, and people don't even realize it. And yeah.
100%. So I love that. I love that. Okay, go on to the next question. I want you to tell me your favorite thing to do during around this time of the year. I want to say like winter time, but if we're being honest, Toronto winter is like completely different to what most people think like a normal winter is. Like we see lots of snow, but like we're still getting pretty like decent weather with like minimal amount of snow. So I guess like for this time of the year, what would be like your favorite thing to do?
I guess it's definitely posing and reflecting, whether personally, professionally, spiritually, just posing, listening to podcasts, journaling, thinking about my life, what I did, being, trying to enjoy the journey and be happy, gives grace to myself, looking at all of the amazing things I did in the past year, and then prepare for the year that's coming, right? It's also a time of the year where I love to go and get some massage, and making sure I do my blood work and all that. This is the time of the year where it's kind of the hibernation, and the work is a little bit less busy and all that. So it's definitely that time of the year for me.
Yeah, I would say there's like two different types of people when it comes to like this time of the year. There's the ones like yourself where you're kind of like hibernating, like you're in your echo chamber, just kind of like boiling up until like the next year. And then there's people that are the quite opposite. They come out the echo chamber and they start going crazy. It's just like where have you been? Like I haven't seen you.
I know, it's crazy. Oh my God.
Yeah, but I think that really tells to like different people and just how they operate. Everyone says like it's Q4, it's the final quarter, so you got to figure out like what you want to do for yourself, how you're going to be operating on a day to day basis, and not only
Uh,
treat it as like one thing for like 3 months, but like bringing that type of energy going to the next year.
Yeah. Yes, and also because people who do not live in Canada, they might not know, but summertime is brutal here, because it's like 3 4 months of the year you are going to be outside, whether it's dancing event, indoor event, outdoor event. You go to the beach. There's so many things to do, and you have to do it all. Personally, this is how I do it the summertime. So that's why when winter time comes, and there's less weather, and I'm starting to have a lack of vitamin D, and you see my skin, it's lighter and all that. I'm like, okay, I need a minute, and I need to be at my place to reflect and all that, just to prepare for the next 9 months of the year.
100%. Honestly, I'm the exact same. Like summertime, like I am out, and then the winter comes, it's like Yeah, just call me back in April of next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is I want you to tell me an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Oh, that's an excellent question because, whenever I think about an interesting fact about me that I don't share, I think about my boxing career, 2 years doing boxing competition and all that. It really helped me literally to learn how to get back on track, like literally and mentally too, right? It's just in real life. Yeah, sometimes you have challenges and you have to get back on track. But if I was about to share something else that I really rarely share, and I'm not sure if I ever shared that on TV or radio yet, but it's the first depression I did
Mm.
here in Canada. And throughout my life, actually, was the first one. It was in 2022, I remember vividly. And I actually got back of this depression after realizing that it was a depression, if that makes sense. I thought what I was in it, I thought I was just sad, or I had just challenges. It's just those are just the challenges of life, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was just sad and all. And then, I dealt with it just by myself, not even with family, because at that time I was living with my sister, and she was not even aware I was depressed, because I kind of hide it. Like I was always in my room and I was crying every night, but she couldn't see it. What she could see is that, oh, my sister is not spending time with me anymore. She doesn't want to spend time with me because I was not communicating it, right? And I got out of depression at a time where I started to listen to a podcast that was called The Psychology of Your 20s. And I was not in my 20s at all. I'm not sure how this girl in her 20s, she was talking about all of those challenges and things. I was like, girl, there's no way you're in your 20s. So I started to listen to that podcast, and one episode was about starting a therapy. And this is where I started therapy for the first time for myself. I went to therapy before, but it was for a challenge in my family. And I went to therapy, but it was the end of my depression. I was able to tell her, hey, I think I'm not good. I think I've been in depression this past year. And she asked me some questions. I answered, and she was like, yeah, you were dealing with depression without knowing it. And I feel like it's super important to talk about it. That's why also outside of work, I'm a mental health advocate. Whenever I can talk about mental health and all that, I will do it definitely. Also because financial literacy and mental health are really related, but also because within the community we don't talk about it enough. And as a black person, as a black woman, I felt like I was a little bit ashamed of saying that I did depression. And even my mom until now and my parents, I never told them that I got a depression. And even if I told them, they would be, no, it's not a depression. You were
Yeah.
traveling, you were doing all of those things, you were posting on Instagram. They wouldn't get it.
Right. That's it. But I mean, again, like people will see like someone like myself, and maybe I'm going through a very tough time, but they see like, oh, like Sean's smiling, like he's
Oh
all
my
good,
God.
and just like, hey, listen, sometimes like it kind of gives off that impression of like tough skin, or like just having to just put up a good act because it's like, okay, I'm out with people. If I really look down, like I don't want people to invade in my space now, because then if I look all gloomy and just dull, now it's a matter of like, oh, like what's wrong? And it's just like that's what I want to avoid. I would rather just like, okay, let me just smile. Then like once everything's done, it's just like, okay, I don't have to put on that act. But again, like with many people, I feel it's important to understand that everyone goes through their own vulnerable state. They go through their different breaking point of depression. It's something that you can't really escape. But I think
Mhm.
to us as like humans, what we could do a better job. And again, this is not me saying it like I know the answers, ladies and gentlemen. Like I'm even saying this for myself, is checking in with people. I think it's important to just call someone and just say, hey, how you doing? Like, how's everything going? That's something I've been doing a lot recently. And people really appreciate it, because like I feel like nowadays when you call someone, it's either they're asking for a favor, or like we booked a call and like we got to follow up. It's become now this
Oh
business
my God.
oriented mindset where it's like, Why can't I just call you to just check in? Why do you feel like it's like, all right, bro, like, what do you want? Like, even in the tone, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, I get to the point. It's like, no, bro,
Mm,
like, what's good? Let's just chat, you know?
yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's why, sometimes even when I see my friend, I ask them, how are you doing? But most of the time I will also ask them, how are you feeling on a scale from 1 to 10? Because it's really if they tell me, I will be able to compare and be like, oh my God, they feel like 3, or oh, they feel like 7. Because when you ask the person, how do you feel? You good? Yeah, I'm good, or I'm okay. But you can't really feel or get a sense of how do they feel really. If you ask that number, you can really judge, right? But it's not with everyone that you can do it. It has to be your close friend. They have to be comfortable with you. It's not like a stranger. You're gonna ask them, "Hey, how do you feel on a scale from 1 to 10?" Right? It has to make sense too. But with my close friend, this is definitely something I do, especially when I sense that they're not at their best.
Definitely, that makes sense. I mean, again, it's important to check in with the people that we love, that we say we love. If you really love them, just check in and just really let them know, like, hey, bro, I just want to see that if you're good, or just wishing you nothing but the best day. That's I think those things are super super important. Going on to the final question here for the hot seat. What is your personal safe room? So, what is a safe space that could be physical, could be mental, that allows you to be your authentic self?
Oh wow. I think recently it has been the fourth season, the spa of the fourth seasons. I'm just telling you the truth. It's been since the beginning of the year. I go there every single month. So I call it my monthly solo date. So I put it in my calendar. I go there from 8 to 9 p.m. And I take all of my journal. I have a lot here, all of my journal. Take all of my journal. I get a massage at 3 p.m. I put my headphones. I listen to a podcast. I journal, reflect on myself on the past month, whether on my personal goals, business goals, and also how do I feel for the past month. How did I feel mentally, spiritually, professionally, romantically, etc. It's a time for myself where I can just think about nothing else but myself. No cooking, no dishes, no thinking about anyone else, right? So this has been my safe space for the past few months. However, other than that, there's also, anywhere when it's summertime and I can go out and just listen to my podcast outdoor, or whether if it's winter time, I'm just gonna do it in my room, whatever. My safe space would be really just being with myself and listening to my podcast while journaling and reflecting. No noise, no TV, right? Just me, myself, and I.
I love that answer. The Four Seasons. I've never heard of someone say, "Yeah, it's a hotel." Like, hey, you want my stay space? I'm about to book this nice little spot. Just chill there. I love that. Low key, you just motivated me. That's what I'm about to do. Just like pick up my bag. My parents are gonna be like, "Where you going?" Downtown Toronto. Do what? Just stay in a hotel for a day.
I love that. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I
Listen.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay, well, that's all the questions for the hot seat. I just want to go through some of the comments that have popped up. I saw Chanel. She's always active. She's here every single week. That's my sister. That's what she does. Like just being a supportive individual. I love it. And we also have a comment from Young Bugs saying, "Smiling through the pain sometimes." Yeah, like
Oof.
it's a real thing. I mean, I've had moments where going out, like when you go to a networking event and you kind of force yourself to, like, okay, let's go and let's connect, and it's always the same like script. It's like, oh, my name is Sean. Oh, you're like, nice to meet you. So tell me about your business, and it goes down this rabbit hole. Sometimes it's just like, I don't even want to talk about that. Like, for real, it's either I want to be quiet or like, hey, y'all, did y'all hear like the new Drake album or something? Like, let's spice it up. Like sometimes.
Yeah. Let's build real relationship, like, like if you're trying to get new friends, right?
Exactly. I mean, like that's my goal, or like my mindset for 2026. Like, I've made a lot of like good relationships with people, and like I guess it's kind of like a semi friendship, but it's not a full friendship. I want to start having full fledged, friendships, because Like, I don't want this to take like a weird turn or like a dark turn. I feel like once I get married, like who's gonna be like my groomsman? It's a small list right now. I'm not gonna
Ooh.
lie. It's a small, so it's like, bro, I need to start like building like proper friendships with people. That's just me, guys. I'm not speaking for everyone. This is just me.
I love that. But it doesn't have to be long, right? If you have two or three groomsmen, let it be.
I mean,
I
I
don't know.
I I guess, but it's at the same time, it's like you want to have that like that power to say like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck between so many people. If you just have a couple, just like, well, that was easy. It's just kind of like, okay, good, but like, okay. I don't want to get off topic too much, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, if you are just coming in, we're not talking about weddings and nothing like that. We're here with Alexia to talk about her business, 123 Finance. We just wrapped up the hot seats again. Send your comments, share your thoughts here. We're all here to enjoy, have a good conversation. Alexia, I want to get into things because you call yourself a financial literacy educator, and there's a lot of educators out there. Like there's a lot of people looking to make a difference. But I want to ask you, what pathway led you to target specifically universities and nonprofits? Because I feel like, yes, there are educators that will technically try eventually to go to those spots, but I feel like you focus centrally in that zone. Usually financial literacy educators more work on a small group basis, maybe one-on-one with people. I feel like for yourself, you try your best to occupy these spaces of nonprofits, universities, and teach your expertise or things that you want them to understand a little bit better, whether it comes to budgeting, save, and invest in. So what pathway led you to that particular approach to share your expertise?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And it's crazy because before I was a financial literacy educator, while I was working in a bank at RBC for 4 years, I knew no financial educators. I was like, where are there? There's no financial educators. I knew few, right? And then as soon as I started to be a financial literacy educator, I kept meeting them online, offline, networking events, new video, Instagram. And I was like, where were you guys? But it's because now that I'm more vocal and all that, I attract them and they attract me too, right? Because we have the same goal. We just want to empower our communities. So I saw a lot of people, a lot of financial educators doing, one-on-one and small group and all that. And I think it's amazing to touch on the individual portion of helping one individual and all that. But I feel like we have to go further, deeper, and take the issue at his roots with the ecosystem, right? Because why are those people not educated? Because either they didn't get that education from their parents. So now, I, I'm not saying I want to educate the parents because it's a little bit too late. So I want to educate those people because they are the parents of tomorrow. Okay? And they didn't get that education from their parents or at school, for example, or
Hmm.
at work, right? You go at work, for example, I go at RBC. When you work at a bank, you have those employee savings plan, retirement savings plan, and once you start to work with them, they will explain a little bit what it is. And if you have a finance background as me, it was easy to understand. So you go into the website, you modify your investment, you max out and all that. But I talked to one of my friends. She was also working at RBC, but at the insurance, and she didn't have a financial background, and she was curious because I was talking about my money and all that, how it's going. And she was like, "Wait, what? Why? I'm not aware." They did a small meeting, but they didn't really get into the meat of things. So she couldn't understand because they do an information session, but they use complicated word and it's just so fast and you can't get it. You really can't get it. So that's why I was like, I need to go into those lost corporations, whether it's with team buildings or lunch and learn, those non-profit organizations helping newcomers, entrepreneurs, and do a meeting and spend an hour where I can educate 30, 20, 50 people, right? I have like a multiplier effect where in an hour I can empower way more people. And this is how we can go faster, right? We have to take the issue at its source.
Yeah, I think that is super important. I mean, it's always been an ongoing situation when it comes to financial literacy. I mean, the running gag that I always tell like my friends when we were in high school, it's like, so we had to learn about y equals mx plus b,
Oh
but
my
you
God.
couldn't teach us anything about like putting money into a savings account, or like we had to learn about like, oh, remember the 20 elements from the periodic table. Brethren, when is that going to ever apply to me unless I'm a scientist? Like, ever. I have been doing this show for 5 years and never once have I mentioned the elements of gold, of whatever, nickel, silver, aluminum.
I'm telling you, this is crazy. This is crazy, right? And I feel like, especially students, they are the leaders of tomorrow. 10, 15 years ago, I was a student. You were a student, right? And now we're business owners. We're making that economy leave and all that. So, the students of today, they're all the leaders of tomorrow. They are the parents of tomorrow. That's why I really love to go into universities, whether it's through the university or through the Black Association of Students or to the nonprofit educating like newcomers, especially newcomers. Most of the time they don't have the financial education in their own country, and then they come to Canada with a different language, and then they have to learn a whole other financial environment. This is crazy. How are we supposed to do that? It's not Google that would help us, get educated about finances. We can try, but we have to be real. It's super scary to go out there and look for a financial literacy education on Google. You got to have a community, you got to have educators, influencers helping you, and we need really more of that.
Yeah, you know what? You mentioned that when it comes to Google has like got me to ask a follow-up question. Like, what do you feel about the implementation of AI? Because I know for some folks, if they may be, uneducated on a certain subject matter, they might go to something like a Chat GPT, or you have a Google Gemini that has the AI feature. How do you feel on that stance? And maybe for yourself, do you feel like I want to use my words carefully. Do you feel like it's like a slap in the face where it's like, man, I'm really trying to teach these people, but then it's like someone could just go to ChatGPT and ask all these things. It's like, okay, I don't have to go to Alexia. Like I can just answer it. But maybe do you still feel like there needs to be that in-person educational component while still, AI is growing at such a rapid rate where people could just go for that information?
I have no fear about AI as per the financial education piece. I feel like we really need to use it to help us empower even more people. But I just want people to be careful, because I'm using ChatGPT every day, right? Even sometimes to help me on, structure my strategy and all that, prepare like, the structure for a presentation and all that. And I've seen things on ChatGPT regarding finances, things that were not correct. And I think it's not only on the financial industry, but ChatGPT is still being used right now. It's still being trained, right? And I've seen things that were not correct, and then I responded, yeah, but it's not correct. This was the threshold, for example, of the TFSA. And I told him, no, it's not correct. It was they did that amount last year. Why are you telling me the amount? And it just answered, oh yeah, you're right. They updated it in January. Yeah, but why did you why you gave me the wrong answer? And so it's
Not
completely
ChatGPT say, you know what, you got it. My bad. My bad.
exactly that. My bad, my bad. And that's why I'm not really afraid, especially regarding money. I've talked to a lot of people trying to enhance their financial literacy. And most of them, they are scared to go to a financial advisor at the bank, which is a human being. They're still scared. They're also scared to go to Google because they don't have enough knowledge to trust what Google is giving you. Because you ask a question, you have this on Google. How do you make sure you have to do this, or this? They still always going to need like a human being with empathy, with like culturally relevant content, with inclusive content. ChatGPT won't necessarily be able to figure out that you're a black person, or that you're a black person speaking French, or that you're an indigenous or minority, or all of that. I think there's a lot more that we can do as human beings in the financial literacy industry.
Yeah, I totally agree. AI is still like retuning itself, even like with ChatGPT, even though it's a very prevalent and usable app or a platform, wherever people want to call it, it's still like in its infancy where like they're trying to tweak things and it's not like fully embraced like the emotional like human connection that we need to get, whether it's
Mm,
on simple subject matter, things that are like super effective to our community or our society. Financial literacy is such a huge thing. I feel like everywhere you go, like people are talking about that, especially just how the economy is, inflation, the pandemic, like post pandemic, everything has just hit so hard that people are just now putting financial literacy at the forefront. They want that to be the way of like, okay, how can we,
mm.
overcome these things and be able to, be financially free.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel like financial literacy is becoming one of the pillars of wellness, as it should be. Because if you look at it, like if you can't handle your finances, you're in debt and you don't have money into your account, how do you think you will feel mentally?
Right.
How do you think you will feel physically? It's not going to get better. So, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health, those are three main pillars of your wellness, of your wellness, your health. You have to
Hmm.
take care of the three. You could be feeling good and going to the gym 5 days a week and then going to see your therapist. But if you don't look at your money, you're in debt, you're not going to feel well. The three are completely linked. So we got to make sure we prioritize financial literacy. And unfortunately, the ecosystem is not helping. As you say, we go at school, they teach us all of those ridiculous things that we will never use in our life ever. Now we need to prioritize it. Financial literacy is coming more and more at schools and universities. It's taking time. It's taking time though. So we have to be better as doing it for ourselves, because you know what? No one cares. No one cares about your financial journey. The president don't care, the government don't care, school don't care, I don't care. I care, but I don't. You know what I mean. If you don't care about it, I cannot care for you. It will not bring you more money if I care for you. You have to care for yourself. Each and every individual has to care for themselves.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Okay, I want to go on to my next question. And you mentioned this at the beginning, you're not just like someone who's teaching here, but like we hear the accent, the accent is there, the French, just like I'm not going to try. French was not my thing in school, so I'm not even going to attempt it. But I would assume like yourself, like being bilingual, how do you try to, leverage, that skill set, that God given ability to teach more folks, not just, here in Toronto, but maybe there's anyone out there who's like, you know what, all my French speaking, people out there that could use this knowledge and this expertise. And of course, I don't know if you want to answer this in French. That's up to you. I'm not going to put you on the spot if you want to. I mean, I don't know. Just for a little flex, but
En français, alors?
I mean, why not? Why not?
Do you have the subtitles for the people,
I, I
or?
I I don't. I don't. I was joshing with you. Don't worry about. I'm just saying, like, if you want to get fancy, like, let me just let me just get in my language, get in my element. But like, in all seriousness, yeah. Again, how would you say your ability to be bilingual, just to not only teach people here but also people who may speak French more predominantly, and still be able to give that wisdom and that knowledge?
Mhm. Donc déjà, c'est quelque chose que je fais beaucoup à Toronto, éduquer les personnes. Maybe now I'm gonna switch back to English just
I
maybe
mean,
for
I
the
mean, we
French.
got some people in the comments saying
Oh,
oui,
oui,
oui, so I
oui,
don't
oui.
know. You might have to keep going with the French.
I love it. Donc, ce que je fais, c'est qu'en fait, j'éduque les personnes, les minorités, principalement. Donc, je travaille avec les universités, les clubs sociaux, les entreprises. Et ce que je fais justement, c'est que mon contenu, il est en anglais et en français. Donc, j'éduque principalement les personnes qui vont être à Toronto, mais j'ai la capacité également, vu que je travaille en virtuel et en personne, d'éduquer des personnes même au-delà, que ce soit à Montréal, à Calgary, à Ottawa. J'ai d'ailleurs fait des 2 déplacements dernièrement à Ottawa et à Calgary, qui m'ont permis de toucher une population qui est beaucoup plus élevée que celle de l'Ontario. Et last June, 2025, I hosted my first international workshop in France, for the government, actually, for a city in
Wow.
France. Yes, it was for like a program for women entrepreneurs. They had like it was like a pitch competition. They did like this online program of multiple weeks. They had a pitch competition, and during the pitch, the judges were looking at the results, and I did my financial talk to help them prepare to be an entrepreneur, save money, and all that. And funny enough, how did I get that opportunity? It's one of my friend I went to school with back in France in 2015. She met that girl one day, and then she gave her the business card, and the girl kept the business card for years. And then at some point, she was working for the city of one of the city in France, and she called my friend back and was like, "Hey, I need a financial literacy educator. Are you available?" But my friend, she has her own business, but she's more like a financial advisor. And she was like, "Hey, I don't do that, but my friend is doing it. However, she's in Canada." So she put us through, and turns out that the girl wanted me to come in June, and I had a wedding in June in France, and also my niece's birthday. And I was like, "Okay, let's go, let's do it." And this is how I hosted after what 8 months of being in activity with 123 Finance. I hosted my first international talk in France, and that was amazing. I feel like I can do even more for French speaking people here in Canada, whether it's with content, video that I can post on social media, or online content, or even when I go at a place and they're looking for a French speaking financial educator, this is clearly my strength.
I mean that's amazing, and congratulations on that, because that's a huge accomplishment to be able to say like, hey, I worked with the government of France. I mean, there's a lot of people that get to that type of like ground, which is great. Chanel saying my grade 12 French just came in clutch. Yeah, sure thing. Whatever you say. Okay. Uh, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but I mean that is incredible, and I mean to be able to not just say that you've done so much in Ontario, but like all the other different places you mentioned, Calgary, Ottawa. I was listening. I may not know everything, but I was peeping. I was peeping it. I mean, it goes to show that you have a lot of different range that you can go into with the experience and the expertise that you built for yourself. Because I think for a lot of business owners in general, they talk about scalability. And sometimes scalability comes in different ways. Maybe it is like open up another storefront, or you're looking to go international. And sometimes those opportunities are a little hard to get because there could be obstacles, there could be barriers to entry. But I feel like for yourself, you've been lucky to have these opportunities. I don't say lucky in a bad way. I feel you put in the work. You have shown that this is just something that's like, oh, it was gifted to me, or like because like I had some ties. No, it's like I put in the work. I came here
Yes.
and I established a platform. I established a foundation, and now it's continuing to spread. So shout out to you, Alexia.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. We have to show love to all the people here that come on the show, and I think it's super important. So, again, guys,
Mm.
show your love to Alexia in the chat. Again, for those who are just tuning in, this is the Safe Room here on Love Bay Radio. We've been having a great conversation on financial literacy. We've been getting real. I should have said at the beginning, get your notepads, get your pens, because there's going to be gems
Yeah,
being dropped in this one. So,
absolutely.
it's
By
an
the way,
important thing. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
love the way you said, no, I don't say lucky to be rude or whatever. That's why I love using the word blessed instead. I'm not lucky, I'm blessed actually to have
Amen.
all of those tools, but also blessed by having the ability of working on myself and acquiring all of those strengths and etc.
100%. I mean, I think for a lot of us, we tend to just believe that certain things fall in front of our lap because, like, we're lucky. Don't get me wrong, I was guilty of that. Just like, oh man, like, how did I get this like opportunity to be here, like on Love Bay Radio? But it's like, it can't be luck. This was God's
Ooh,
plan. It was all set up for me. And this was something that I had like dreams of doing, but not this early. I said maybe like in 5 years when I said that in 2023. That's like, nah, like it's coming now. You don't even realize it, but you got to put trust in me. And it was like, okay, I'm going to
it's
sit back with this.
crazy. Yeah. And sometimes we are the ones blocking our blessing because, as you said, our path is already there. God knows. But sometimes we want to do our own things and we're blocking our own blessings.
Chanel says that Alexia is blessed. Yes, I love the energy. We gotta keep the energy up, guys. We're at a 10. Let's go to 100. Let's blow it out the water. Okay. So, Alexia, I want to ask you another question. So, what parts of yourself personally and professionally you feel most people don't see of yourself, but demonstrates the leader you've built for yourself?
Ooh. I think and I truly believe it's all of the work, like work, the personal growth, professional growth, personal development, all of the podcast I'm listening to, all of the journaling, all of the personal coaches, business coaches, people helping me. um, People don't necessarily see that, and I feel like it's coming from the fact that I'm the eldest daughter of an African family. I'm the eldest of, I have two sisters on my mom's side, and I have two brothers and one sister on my dad's side. And I grew up with my sisters and my mom, but I'm super close from all of my brothers and sisters. And growing up in my family, it was always like, Alexia, you have to show the way. Don't make mistakes, otherwise they're gonna do the same. Your little brothers and sisters. Don't do this. You have to lead by example. You have to show them the way and all that. And they so everyone was telling me that in my family that I kind of now believe it. I believe that I have to lead the way for everyone I'm meeting, whether it's a friend, whether it's a colleague. I have to show the example, to lead by example, right? And it's just now really part of myself. And as you talked about my leadership style, it's really it. A lot of people, they've been looking at my work on LinkedIn and be like, girl, you're such a leader. I want to be like you when I grow up. You do those amazing things. Let me show you. Can we have a coffee chat so that you explain how you got there and what were the steps to take? And even sometimes with my friends, um, even if some of them they're older than me and we have a conflict or something, I'm always going to be the one to, start the conversation or apologize or do something to, because this is how I grew up. And even with my friend, I'm always like the big sister. It's just like a natural thing that I have in me. And I'm also trying to rely more on people. And I feel like moving from France to Luxembourg for 2 years and then to Canada for 6 years have learned me how to set up my boundaries a little bit more. Because as I grew up in France, it was, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I was doing it, right? You have to be the first to buy your property. You have to, and I did everything that everyone wanted me to do, you know? And then I came to Luxembourg and for 2 years. I was like living by myself. I was small things, but cooking the food that I wanted to eat, stop cooking the food that my mom was doing just because it was normal for me, but it was not necessarily what I liked. And now I had that ability to cook the food I like, for example. And then I came to Canada, it was even more. I'm like, oh, now I can be also a professional dancer, a performer outside of being a financially, outside of working at a bank. Or now I can also be an entrepreneur. Because, being an entrepreneur in France, especially in my family, it's like, oh, you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a paycheck. So you don't have a job, basically. You don't work. Duh. So, yeah.
No, it's like the parents get scared. It's just like, you're wasting your time doing this nonsense. Okay, okay.
Exactly.
When you come back here with no money and you're about to beg, don't say we didn't tell you anything.
Exactly. And you know what? It's their roles. They have to be scared. They have to tell us those things. But coming in Canada, I realized that, oh, I met a lot of entrepreneurs or people having a 9 to 5 but having a side hustle too. And this is where I discovered myself even more. And this is what brought me to be even a better leader, because I can show people that, hey, you can start by doing your 9 to 5 and doing all of your parents told you to do, and then you can go to a point where you're going to do your thing. You're going to do your things. It is possible. It is possible. So this is what I'm doing every day. I'm just leading by example and trying to do my best.
Yeah, I mean that's important. Like you mentioned, like it's even the littlest things in terms of just like how we wake up or our eating habits or just the way we carry ourselves throughout the day. And obviously, like the two words that I try to tell myself, and obviously again, still a work in progress. I feel like I'm still like trying to figure things out. Like as a 25-year old, I'm still trying to put things together. But like I'm always trying to tell myself discipline and consistency. Like those are the things that's just like if I'm able to just instill that into my brain, and it's like, okay, like you can do this. Like you can get up, do what you need to do, and you'll feel better about yourself. Because the more you just procrastinate and delay and prolong, it's not doing you any better. So it is important to kind of find yourself in certain moments. And sometimes for people, it depends. Maybe you need a push by a friend. Maybe sometimes you need to just be alone. And unfortunately, that I have to say this, but if I'm keeping it real, sometimes you have to hit the lowest point of your life to realize that, and that just
Mm.
depends on different people. You might have to go to the lowest depths where it's like, man, I got nothing, but it's like it's only gonna go up afterward because sometimes again, God has something set up for you, and it's different for every person as well. So I mean, you have to understand that. And I think the more we're able to comprehend that, it's important. Seeing yes, discipline because how do I say that in
La
French?
discipline et la constance.
There you have it. There you have it. I feel like low key, you might be a fan favorite. We might have you back next time, and we'll just have it straight French, just straight French.
Love that. But yeah, to your point, I completely agree with you when you say we have to go to our lowest point. And I also want to remind people that, sometimes when you're at your lowest point, look at where were you 5 years ago, right? Where were you 10 years ago? And try to think about where will you be like in 5 years or in 10 years. Sometimes
Hmm.
we don't even know what's going on. But look, who would have thought that 6 years ago I would have been in Canada, full-time business owner, going on podcast, on TV show, on radio show, talking about financial literacy? No one. So sometimes when I feel bad or I'm at my lowest, I'm just thinking about the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Because 6 years ago I didn't
100%.
know that would happen.
Mhm. 100%. Okay. I want to go on to the next question. So, I want to talk about something that I believe you do teach to people through your workshops and through everything that you do, and that's intergenerational financial trauma. So, I want people to get your notebooks. I'm gonna repeat the word again because I feel like this we're about to get deep on this. Intergenerational financial trauma. Okay,
Yes.
IFT for short. IFT. We'll just call it
If
IFT. So I want to ask you, just at your core, how long do you believe, marginalized and underrepresented communities have dealt with intergenerational financial trauma here in Canada, just based on what you've observed from the people and the groups you've been able to speak at or to help with? And even just from things you just kind of picked up along the way, like how long do you believe this has just been an ongoing pressing issue in Canada for marginalized and underrepresented communities?
honestly, in Canada and even outside of Canada, it's been too much, too long. It's been decades and even more. It's crazy. And it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing, but I want people to understand that the intergenerational financial trauma, it has to stop there. It has to stop with you. It has to stop with me. It has to stop with you. It has to stop now, right? So that notion of intergenerational financial trauma is the idea of all of those trauma, that the financial trauma that were passed from generation to generation. So from your grandparents to your parents to yourself, that you will pass down to your kids, nephews and nieces if you don't do anything. So it's the idea of, for example, money is taboo, don't talk about it. Or you have a little bit of money with that work already, don't ask for too much. Or don't talk about money with anyone, it's rude. Or only devil people talk about money, only devil people have money, you should stay, you're at your level, you're good. All of that, it makes money like a subject that is taboo, that you don't want to share, you don't want to talk about. And then It shaped the way you think about money, your relationship with money. Are you being avoidant, meaning you don't want to look at your phone because you don't want to open your account because you don't want to see what's going on your account? Are you being scared about money? How are you feeling? Or do you have a scarcity mindset? For example, I remember my mom, she was always telling me, Alexia, you have to save money, you have to save money, because we never know what can happen. So it was always from a scarcity mindset. And the other reason, it was like, I was never able to buy your property. So I want you, my kids, and you, my eldest, to buy your property yourself. So it came from, you have to save money to buy your property, because I was not able to do it. It was never coming from a building generational wealth or generational wellness idea. You know, she didn't tell me you have to save and then invest and then buy your property to grow your asset, to grow your wealth and invest and all that. Right now, if you talk to my mom about investing, she will ask you one question: is it risky? Can I lose my money? And investing is risky, but keeping your money in the bank account is risky too with inflation. Today you have $100, you go to Loblaws, you buy a few things. With the same $100 in 6 months, you think you're gonna have the same things at Loblaws in your basket? No, you're gonna have less. Why? Because of inflation. Every price is increasing. So keeping your money under your mattress is also risky. Life is risky. Everything is risky, right? But because investing is risky, my mom, she would never do it. So it never all of those past financial generational trauma, they're still there even right now. When I talk to the people I'm educating, and then they go and talk to their parents, I can still see that thing, right? But the fact that we're talking more about it, and we make it like just normal to talk about money, I want people to be able to share their knowledge with other people, whether it's your sister, your brother, your nieces, your nephew, even your colleagues. Stop to make finances like a shame, or I don't want to hear about it. We have to talk about it. The same way we have to talk more about mental health, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, just like Chanel said, dropping gems. Realer words were just spoken right there. I think the one thing that made me had to pause and be like, damn, was when you said that for parents, when they tell you, like, I want you to go buy this and buy that, not because of like you need to accumulate cash value, but it's like I couldn't buy that, so I want you to. That right there, I wish I had a horn to hit the that one's like a Don DeMarco. Like, wait a minute, because I feel like, especially we're talking about underrepresented like and marginalized communities, that's like the Black community to a T, like the
Mm-hmm.
Black, Caribbean, African community. It's like and listen, I am not coming after any of the parents or that generation. Listen, this is no shade, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the certain endeavors that they couldn't have, I get it. They want to see their children or the next generation obtain that. But is it a matter of also teaching them that, listen, the things I didn't do back then, here's how you can apply that right now? Or is it more of just like, they got it, and I'm just happy because like I'm happy because they got it for me in a way, but it's
Yeah.
like it's not for you, but it's still like it's good. It's just like, yeah, but like it's a very sticky. Again, it's real. It's a real
Mm-hmm.
conversation. People may look at us thinking like, man, y'all just talking. Yeah, we're talking true. We're talking game.
Absolutely. And it's definitely coming from a traumatic place. Say, oh, I was not able to do it, so I want you to do it, right? But what if I don't want to do it? That's this first thing. What if I don't want to do it? Or what if you want me to do it, but you don't show me the proper way to do it, right? So there's that thing. And the other thing with parents is also they did the best that they could with what they have for information, right?
Hmm.
They didn't have all of those podcasts, those TV show, those radio show, the education, financial educator, or going to the therapist if I'm talking about the mental health, for example. So they did the best that they could with what they had. But now what I'm trying to let people know is understand the notion of past financial generational trauma so that you do the best that you can with what you have. And what you have is access to books about financial literacy, podcasts about financial literacy, YouTube videos about financial literacy, A lot of Instagram about financial literacy. We were talking about financial literacy educator. I have a lot of friends that are financial literacy educator, but more on the social media influencer vibe. There's a lot. You have financial educators. You have online courses. You have so many resources, and we have more resources now that our parents had. But the thing
Hmm.
is, we don't use it. Most of the people, they don't use it as they should. So I really want people to understand that you gotta use the resources that you have at your disposition. Stop doing the financial generational trauma thing, and you have to pass information to your kids. Last time I was in Ottawa hosting a booth with another entrepreneur. He's white, and he was there with his daughter, and we were talking about financial literacy because I was like, I'm a financial literacy educator. He's a web designer, and he was like, it's an amazing work that you do. Look at my daughter. I was teaching her about cash flow and all that because his parents taught him. So this is what he's giving. But most of our parents, they had trauma, financial trauma. So they passed us financial trauma, right?
Hmm.
Now that we are old enough to get that education, we have to pass that generational wealth. So whether assets, buildings, real estate, money, but we also have to pass the generational wellness, which is good money mindset, money habits, money affirmations, the budgeting strategy, explaining our kids how to do their budgeting strategy. We have to pass those two things, generational wealth and generational wellness.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, again, I think for financial educators out there, I think they play a huge role as well. So for the parents who should be going out there trying to learn more about these things and then pass along to their children, it's also up to those financial educators, whether you're active on social media or if you have a website, to push out the right information. Because again, I'm not coming after every financial educator. Some of them say some sketchy stuff, and it's just like, you sure about that one, bud? It's like, I don't know, but like, it is important that they play their part, they're sharing, and it becomes a chain reaction. Like once they're sharing, the parents obtain that information and then they pass it down to their children, and it becomes an ongoing cycle.
Yes, absolutely. 1% agree.
Yes.
100% d'accord, as we say in French.
100%. Okay, so I want to go on to the role play scenario now. This is the radio station's favorite segment. I know I mentioned at the beginning there was their favorite. This is it, the role play. So Alexia, let's just pretend for this exercise that I'm not Sean. I'm a completely different person. Let's say I'm from like from the dean department, at York University. Like
Hmm.
obviously, like you can give me any name you want, and we're just gonna reenact like a little one-on-one consultation. So you know what? I'll give the floor to you. How do you want to call me? Instead of Sean, who am I in this role play?
Let's call you Olu.
Olu. I feel like I know exactly where you're getting that name. It's funny. It's funny. You know what? I'll bring this up. So funny enough, I was sharing the link for this conversation in the group chat, building a dream, and Ali was like, "Oh, me and Alexia, we were in the same cohort. We were partners in the BEA." So like, I know why you call me Olu. I know exactly why. Guys, she's not slick, but you know what? I'll roll with the punch. I'm Olu today. I hope I do justice. If he's watching this, I hope I do good enough justice. But we're just gonna do a little bit of role play, just kind of treat it as if like, I'm asking you questions about the work that you're doing. You just answer them, okay?
Okay, perfect.
All right. Alexia, it's so nice to meet you. Olu, I'm the founder of the BEA, and I've heard lots of great things about you. I wanted to reach out to you because it's important about financial literacy. You know this based on the work that we do, but I feel like a lot of people at York who are students need to know a little bit more about this to a much higher scale. So maybe you could tell me a bit about what you do, what services you offer, just to give a little bit of a brief overview.
Absolutely. Nice to meet you, Olu. Thank you for reaching out. So, a little bit more about my work, but especially who I am, because I'm a human being, first of all. So, I'm Alexia. I'm Congolese, born and raised in France. And I'm the speaker, financial literacy educator, and founder of 123 Finance. which is a bilingual business, Toronto-based, where I empower underserved communities through fun and engaging financial literacy experiences. So I usually work with universities, nonprofit, and large corporations, and what I'm offering is financial literacy experiences. So I can come to your place, whether it's for a team building, a lunch and learn, a financial talk, or speaking engagement, and I'm trying to gamify financial literacy so that people want to actually engage in financial literacy, because everyone should be interested in, enhancing their financial journey and trying to be interested in what is the budgeting strategy, what is saving versus investing, and all that.
All right, that's perfect. Yeah, like we are partnering with Schulich, that's their business school, and like they have an incredible group of students. And for ourselves, we kind of want to get something together where we have a sort of like a fireside chat, a Q&A, and we want to bring in someone who is able to talk a little bit about, again, like you mentioned, save and invest in. But I think for a lot of our people we work with, a lot of the business owners that we collaborate with, they're always looking for different ways on like how to utilize their cash flow in an efficient way, because obviously when it comes to business you have to make revenue, but there's also expenses, and you have to be able to prioritize a certain amount of that revenue into the day-to-day operations. So I guess I want to ask you, is that something that you would be open to, or maybe you could break down exactly how could that conversation look like, so that way we know exactly what you bring to the table and we can collaborate in a much meaningful way?
I love that you brought that on the table, because two things about my services is that for my clients, so the person who book me, whether the organizations, the nonprofit, or the university, I will ask them what is their need, because if we talk about financial literacy, to be honest, it's super large. I can talk about budgeting strategy, even within the budgeting strategy. If you are an entrepreneur, an employee, students, or an international student with a part-time job, it's going to be the complete different budgeting strategy. So what I do is I will always tailor my content to my clients' needs, right? So this is one of my value proposition, is that I'm going to always customize the content so that you get really something that's valuable for your community. And the other thing about my services for the attendees, meaning for your community, is that I make the content engaging and inclusive and interactive, right? So I don't just come and talk for an hour. What I do, if you want me to come for an hour, I can come for an hour. If it's 2 hours, I can come from 2 hours. And what I do is I will divide my time. So I will do a little bit of case studies, and when I'm using a case studies, I will use names that resonate with your people, right? If you make me come for to empower Black people, I'm not going to choose name like David or John, because it has, representation matter. Having a Black person coming, talking to you, using name that resonate with you, with your reality, it's super, super key, right? So I'm doing case studies. I'm going to do interactions. I can give them exercises. We do quizzes. It's really, I gamify finances, because I've been seeing some of the work that people do is they just come, they talk for an hour using complicated words, and people can't get interested in the subject.
That's perfect. We love to hear that. My final question really is, what's your price? Because I feel like the amount of value you're gonna bring. Like, listen, we at the BEA, we got money. We got money to spend. So don't worry. Just you let us know like how much is it, and we'll send over the invoice.
So for the pricing, I have different pricing depending of your if you're a university, a nonprofit, or a large organizations. I love to ask is, what if you have a budget for this service? I would be happy to tell us something that can fit your needs, because sometimes I don't want my pricing to be like a barrier to the financial education of people, especially of Black people. So I would love for you to give me a budget if you have one, and then we can work on that together.
Okay, yeah, let's schedule a follow-up call. We'll talk budget and we'll talk about you coming in. But thank you, Alexia. Appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to working together.
Amazing. It was super nice to meet you, Olu. Do not hesitate to reach out anytime.
Okay, perfect. Yep. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, very simple. So now for people who want to reach out to Lexia, you get a good vibe of just how she is on a day-to-day basis. So Very simple as that. But we're not done yet. I know everyone who has been tuning in since the beginning. I appreciate y'all for staying, but we got one final thing before we wrap up, a quick little activity. So this time I actually prepared and I didn't waste last minute to create this activity, ladies and gentlemen. I actually did proper preparation. We're going to try to do this quickly. So I haven't done this in a while. And Alexia, we're going to do a little bit of a tier ranking. So just quick question. Are you a fan of R&B music?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fair. Okay, so I got a couple R&B artists, right? And I want you to like rank them based on like the given tier. So we have S tier, which is like GOAT status, like they elite of the elites, right? Then we
Hmm.
have the A tier, which is like still fantastic. We got the B tier, where it's like they're good, and then we have unfortunately the C tier because we have to have a C tier, which is like they're all right. Okay,
Okay.
so like this could get spicy very quickly. So I want the comments also engage as well, but we're gonna try it out. Okay,
Okay. Could you repeat the four tier? I know the S is the last one, right?
S is the top tier,
At
just
the
to let you
top.
know.
Okay.
S is the top, then below it is the A tier, and then the B tier, and then the C tier.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna list out maybe like 5 names, and I had 15, but I know we're running low on time, so we're gonna do 5. Okay, we're just gonna go
Okay.
random. So first off, we have Usher.
Oh,
Where
S
would you?
tier. Oh my God, S tier.
I guess he's your favorite artist, is he?
Come on, come on. It's all of my childhood too, right? And the dancing. I'm a dancer too, so it was all about the dancing and all that. It's just
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay,
Oh my
okay.
God.
All right, let's go to the next one. Janet Jackson.
S tier too. You're giving me all of the gems too. It's also
I
my childhood, Janet Jackson.
Okay,
Come on,
okay. I just want to
fire.
see. I just want to see. I thought you're gonna be like, you know what, maybe like S tier. Like I thought you were gonna say something crazy, like maybe A tier, just to see how everyone's gonna react in the comments. But okay,
Mm,
okay. Uh,
I gotta be real.
all right, that's fair. That's fair. How about Brandy?
No, man. It's a S tier too. I am sorry. S.
Honestly, I said that because I was waiting for Chanel to come in. I knew she was about to spam S. That's her girl.
I think
Okay.
we're the same generation with Chanel, maybe, eh? The
I
90s
mean,
girlies.
well, actually, like, that's Chanel. She's my twin sister, so we were born in 2000.
Oh, no way. Oh my God, twin sister. That's so cool.
Yeah, but like she loves her Brandy for
Oh, no,
sure.
Brandy. Yeah. Woo, S tier too.
Okay, okay. Let's switch things up, okay? Chris Brown.
A tier.
A tier. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's not S yet. He's still at the A.
Yeah, it's still at the A. There's also a lot of dancing with him, and I really appreciate the singer, not necessarily the person, but yeah. And also, I was at his concert like during the year, so I can't really be like, yeah. No, I paid to go see his, so yeah. Oh,
Okay.
Shana, she said B tier. Yeah.
That interesting B tier. Okay. Last one. Beyonce.
Mm,
Careful, the beehive's watching.
I know. I mean, I love her. But R&B, we're talking about R&B music.
Yeah, we're talking. We're saying I said R&B artist, so I mean, like
R&B
it depends
artist.
on how you want to rank it. How do you want to go with this?
Because if I gotta compare Beyonce and Usher, Janet Jackson, Brandy, oh my God, am I going to make her A just
Oh,
because of the R&B thing that you said? You didn't say artist. If it was artist, I would have said S. But you said R&B artist. Let's say
mhm.
A, A, A.
Okay, okay. Hey,
It
that's
is.
fair. That's fair. I had a whole other list, but I'm like, we ain't got the time. Maybe we'll do like a part 2 when we have the chance. But Alexia, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. You were awesome. Energy was all over the place, but I love it. Like we love when our guests bring like that top tier energy, but you brought the top tier knowledge
S
with you as well. So
S tier, I believe. I hope, huh? S tier.
Yeah, yes, S tier, S tier, exactly. Everything was S tier. So 100%. Thank you for coming on. Let the lovely people know where they can find you on social media.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys can find me on LinkedIn, Alexia Kitoko, Kitoko. You can also find my business on LinkedIn, 123 Space Finance, or on Instagram, 123 Finance underscore. And on my website, 123finance.ca, if you want to book me for, if you work at a nonprofit, a large organization, universities, and you want to bring some spice in the financial literacy as lunch and learn, game night, everything. Yes, reach
Yes,
out.
100%. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at the Safe Room Official. Go follow my personal page too, the President of TO. I'm getting back to posting on there. Okay, so the President of TO. I have to. I gotta post something. I promised Ellie that I was gonna do her goodbye shyness challenge. I'm so behind. She's like on day 7. I'm like I'm still on like day 4. So I gotta catch up. So definitely follow me on Instagram at the Safe Room Official. That's the show page on Instagram for the personal at the President of TO. Make sure you guys come back next week to your favorite show here on Love Bay Radio. Until then, we'll see you guys next time.